Democrats say the General Assembly is not prepared to safely conduct its legislative session in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. They say they're concerned about a lack of firm rules requiring masks or steps such as random testing of members to prevent a COVID-19 outbreak that could force an interruption of the legislative session. As State House reporter Brandon Smith reports, lawmakers gathered at the State House this week for the first time since the pandemic started sweeping across the country.
Republican legislative leaders say they haven't decided on any COVID testing or screening procedures for lawmakers during session. They also haven't determined a threshold for when the session might need to shut down temporarily because of positive cases. Leaders said Tuesday members won't be allowed to participate in committee hearings virtually, and Speaker Todd Houston says lawmakers must be in person to vote on legislation.
We think that it could be a bit of a slippery slope to go down that path. Obviously, our interest is allowing members to do as much as possible.
Democratic Representative Robin Shackelford says lawmakers aren't prepared for the realities of a session amid COVID.
I think the leadership just wants to do the bare minimum and still go ahead and proceed with session.
Now, after Shackelford, or while Shackelford was doing that virtual press conference with reporters, she also revealed that she had just found out that day that she was in close contact with someone who had tested positive for COVID-19, but she hadn't yet left the State House and was around other lawmakers.
So lawmakers officially voted this week not to require masks at the State House. Was that along party lines?
Well, it was a vote by House lawmakers about House lawmakers. So Governor Holcomb controls the rest of the State House. Masks are required under his orders. But yeah, Republicans said, no, we're not going to require our own members to wear masks. Democrats said we should. That's the Democrats who brought the motion. And to be fair, of the 90-something House lawmakers who were there on Organization Day, only 2 refused to wear masks. Both are Republicans, and neither one were allowed to participate in the private Republican caucus meeting.
So your reporting makes it sound like there really hasn't been much planning that's gone into the session. Do they have a plan for what to do if someone gets sick?
If they do, they're not telling us. As I talked about in the piece, they haven't developed any testing or screening procedures for lawmakers or those who are around the General Assembly. We don't know if they will. That we asked about a threshold. If so many people get the virus, will you have to temporarily shut down? They don't know what that level will be. What they do know is that they've said they're not going to allow sort of virtual participation. So if a lawmaker gets sick, it sounds like they're just going to be sick and not going to be able to participate unless the General Assembly is halted.
We just have a few more seconds. Want to know, big thing I think people, though, are anticipating lawmakers to take up is about the governor's emergency powers. Some Republicans don't approve of the governor's use of executive orders. Did that come up during this week's meetings?
Not in any significant way, but we do expect it to come up during session. I don't think they're going to take all of the powers away, but they probably will curtail them in some fashion.
All right, Brandon, thank you very much.